Hi, Nick Knudsen here. I would like to take you through a few steps concerning our agenda for our meeting on the 12th. And the first thing, same as usual, no big surprise, a check-in. Just trying to lay off what's else on our mind and try and focus on the issue that we're going to work with for the next few hours. Then, if there's any questions to the reading, and then I want you all to have prepared an elevator pitch. Elevator pitch essentially in 30 seconds being able to tell what is your value proposition and what is unique about it, and leaving the audience or the person you're speaking to with a sense that's interesting, I would like to get back to them whenever I need their product or service. So an elevator pitch essentially saying your value proposition, who it addresses, and leaving 30 seconds, leaving the audience, the person you're speaking to, wanting to get back to you whenever they need your, so you end up with just giving them your business card, and hopefully they'll get back to you within a short time. So, elevator pitch. Please all prepare 30 seconds. Be much better at it as time moves on, but let's have a start. And then I want to discuss segmentation and the elements of it. I have slides here, and positioning. It has come to my attention that the Hollison pages aren't there yet, but they'll be there tomorrow, and this is primarily concerning positioning. And then I also want you to have some considerations. What is your thoughts for the individual technological development? This is what we'll be attending to in the weeks 8, 9 and 10. And this is where you'll be working much more independent in your project groups with a special issue that you have chosen. We have chosen, and I would like you to give it some thought and have an idea as to what could be interesting for you to focus upon. Okay. So with that said, let's move on, and now we're looking at segmentation or targeting. So segmentation, which customers group do we have? Targeting, how are we targeting these customer groups? So targeting requires that we identify the profile of some distinct group of buyers who differ in their needs and preferences. So going back to what we've had previously, each target group, each segment has their own individual understanding of the value proposition, which means that you're able to communicate on their, if you're able to get the communication, the marketing directly to them, then you're able to communicate on the elements that is important and interesting for this specific group. And then having done the overall segmentation, we select one or more markets to enter, and then we find out how we're going to communicate distinctive benefits. So distinctive benefits to each segment. So what is a segment? A market segment is a group of customers that have the same set of needs, and wants. So there's something they're excuse me, they're unique in the sense that they differ from the other segments in some of the needs and wants that they desire. And this one's actually quite interesting. Fantastic language, and just shows you it in 3 or 4 minutes. So have a look at this segmentation and enjoy it. Segmentation and markets, just to follow up, geographic, demographic, so geographical areas, demographic, types of customer groups, age, etc. Are psychographic, some of their special values or needs, behaviors, values and behaviors. So that's three initial ways: either geographical segmentation, a demographic as to what characterizes this customer group concerning age, income, etc., or psychographic, what characterizes a group concerning their beliefs and values. Geographical segmentation. It's like a funnel, narrowing down. We could address Europe. So we're just now saying no way. We're starting off with Scandinavia at the most. So Scandinavia, we're reducing that to Denmark, Norway, Sweden. We're reducing that to Denmark, so that means Jutland, Funen and New Zealand. No, still too big. Okay, we'll reduce it to region mid and region north in Denmark, because this is the region we're in and this is a small region just above us. No, still too big. So we reduced it to Herning, Silkeborg and Aarhus as three main cities in region mid. Yes, but they have quite a large geographical area, so perhaps we'll say these three towns and then town centres and the suburbs. In that way, each demographic segmentation is depending on the criteria and what you actually want with this segmentation. We'll get back to the criteria in a moment. Demographic segmentation: age, where they are in the life cycle, life stage, gender, income, which generation they belong to, which education, social class. So there's a lot of different demographic segmentation criteria that we could add on or use instead of the geographic. So we could use geographic and demographic, or just the one of them. But if we're just using the demographic segmentation, we still need to address, well, what's the geographical area if it's gender? Again, is it Europe or is it Herning, Silkeborg, Aarhus? So combine them and reflect on the segmentation with each. Finally, psychographic segmentation, values, behavior, status, and check this one out. You're only given a minute or two to watch it, and then you have to sign up. But it gives a good presentation of this with the psychographic segmentation, values, behavior, and status. So, bottom line, summing up, we have three different areas that we could segment, choosing our customer groups that are potentially the ones we can address. 1, the geographical; 2, the demographic; and 3, the psychographic. It makes good sense to include all three in some sense, or at least address them whether they're relevant or not. This segmentation gives us the opportunity to increase our market share, or go into the market and get a market share. If we're into the market, increase purchase size. This is interesting. So this could actually be getting the customers already there to buy more. Increase customer loyalty, so they don't shop between different alternatives, but are loyal to the products and services we increase the frequency of purchase. So this is interesting. So Are we focusing on getting them to buy larger amounts when they buy, or are we focusing on getting them to buy more often? Two different approaches that we have to think into the way our segmentation works and the way we want to address our segment. And then you can have a look at the rest that could also be interesting. Down here, the why, recognizing this is the one we had a look at with Simon Sinek. The reason you could also look at the readings while a strategic management on page 67 to 79, where he has segmentation and positioning. I'll get back to that in a minute. I actually thought that was a slide. Segmentation criteria. What is it we expect? So what must be fulfilled for each segment that we identify? One, it has to be measurable. We have to quantify and say this segment consists of so many people or so many buyers or this amount of purchasing power. So in some way measurable. When it's been measurable, it has to also be substantial. So it has to be to a degree that it's worth going for. Accessible, we have to be able to single them out and target them and communicate with them as an individual segment. Meaningful, it must be a meaningful group for our organization to address. And finally, we must be able to take action on them, i.e. communicate with them, get the purchasing power, and get them to act. This question of acting for our segmentations, we're now moving on to marketing, but it's an interesting slide. I've mentioned it previously, and it's worth always keeping into consideration when you're talking about promotion. I.e., who are the initiators for this product or service? Who are the influencers? Who influences that a purchase is being made or that particular segments are acting? Who makes a decision to buy? Who actually does the buying? And finally, who's the user? So, in a sense, this elaborates on, for example, the business model cube that has the buyer and the user. So in the marketing, this can be developed further by the initiators, influencers, and deciders. Okay, final one, Formula One. We've had it a few times. Now we're moving away from the segments and trying to look at the positioning compared to our competitors. So that's why positioning is often said the way that you target your segments. But I want you to distinguish between segments and how you address your segments, i.e. how you're looking at communicating with your segments, and then positioning, i.e. how we're going to place ourselves compared to who else is on the market. And both issues are interesting, and the question is, does one come prior to the other? Not necessarily, but you need to address both. How are the segments? How are you going to communicate with them? And secondly, also, who else is on the market, and how are you going to position yourself compared to those on the market? So this is Formula One curve, the hotel. You can see they are very strong on room quietness, hygiene, and bed quality. Price, they're in between. What they're not so much focused on as compared to 1 star and 2 stars is the room size, the lounges, architectural aesthetics, eating facilities, etc. So this is where they focus their value proposition. And an interesting one to work with, and this is what we'll be doing also tomorrow or when we meet concerning your value propositions from your elevator speech. Thank you. See you.